Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Marketing with In-Depth Podcast, where I'm your host, Nathan Webster. I got my man, Gene Slade, to join me from Lead Ninja. What's up, Gene? Whoa, that's the first time I get a flex. Can I
Let's
can I
go,
get
man.
two?
Come on, let's go.
Oh
I'm ready,
shoot,
man.
that
Let's drop some
that's what's
diamonds, as
up.
you would say.
We need to drop some diamonds because I believe people are failing in their businesses because they haven't spent enough time. What I believe you're going to talk about is setting up a lead system for their company.
That's what you want me to talk about? Setting up a lead system?
No, we're going to see y'all. Look, this ain't scripted. We ain't playing nothing. So for my first time listeners, welcome to the show. My worldwide listeners, you know how we roll. So Gene, can you please tell the people who you are and what you do?
Sure. So I'm Gene Slade, and I am the owner of Lead Ninja and a couple of other companies. Lead Ninja is a sales training company. Started out as a marketing company, but it's a sales training company that serves mostly the trades. You know, contractors. Think about home services. If you roll an HVAC truck or a plumbing truck or an electrical truck up to somebody's house, those are the clients that I'm typically serving. And I got into the trades when I was 11, Nathan. My father owned his own heating and air conditioning company, and my uncle owned a plumbing company. And my dad said, at 11, my dad said, "Boy, if you want food, you want clothes, come to work." So I did. He really just needed somebody to crawl in the crawl spaces where he didn't want to go, the tight areas, right? So I began to hold his flashlight, if you will, and started working out of his tool bag. But within about 3 years or so, I was qualified to be a lead installer. It was actually by the time I was 15. And so we were just a one truck company, two jeans in a truck. And my dad decided that he'd go out and buy another vehicle, hired a 21-year-old to drive me around, and we became a two truck company. So I think he fired me a dozen times the first year, Nathan. I mean, it was like if I left the basement with an extension cord that we didn't need anymore, my father was just a hammer, right? He'd be like, "Boy, go sit in the truck the rest of the day. You don't forget to take stuff out. You're creating extra trips for us," right? He was really, really
Mm.
tough, made me a really, really good installer. But then I got kind of irritated, man, because I saw these guys coming in, these sales guys didn't know jack about the trades, right? I was really good at what I did, but they were making 2, 3 times as much money as me. And that really, really irritated me. So I decided that I would get into sales. Looked for a sales job in Florida, looked for one in Michigan, ended up hiring on with the most expensive heating and air conditioning company within 100 miles of my hometown in Michigan. And that was a blessing, man, because it taught me early how to sell value or to how to sell for higher prices. And man, if I hadn't had that experience, I don't know what I would have done. But about 3 years into it, I broke the infamous $1 million mark. And this is 20 plus years ago. And back then it was like, if you sold $1 million a year, you were the man, right? And I thought that that would be what would make me feel successful, was selling $1 million. And have you ever had a goal and you finally hit this goal and it's just kind of empty? You don't feel the satisfaction that you thought you would feel. It's like, is this all there is?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. And so I felt like that, man. I felt like, is this all there is? I mean, I tried to even get out of the trades at that stage of the game because I didn't know anybody that was selling as much as me. But then I ended up finding this dude down in Florida that was selling twice what I was. So I ended up moving down to Florida, ended up helping them build a company, and then eventually started my own HVAC company. And I owned that for 6 years in one day. We ended up exiting for a really nice 7-figure profit and kind of went into semi-retirement before I started this company. And this company originally started as a marketing company because I had a very unique way of generating leads for my air conditioning company. And then eventually, when I started generating all these leads for all these contractors, I don't know if you've talked to many salesmen, but salesmen like to blame leads for them not making sales, right? And I was advertising on conservative talk radio. The avatar was 35 to 65, middle to upper income. They don't like inconvenience. I knew that the leads were good, but I had to go out
Mm.
and show them that the leads were good. So I went and trained their company, and boom, they exploded. And then next thing you know, everybody wants me to train people to sell. right? And it was the last thing in the world that I wanted to do, but it's something that has given me more joy than anything else that I've ever done in my life. I mean, I got guys who were homeless or came out of prison, and now
Mm,
they're making four, 500, $600,000 a year, and they've got completely different lives, right? They've transformed themselves and generations to come.
mm.
So that's where my passion lies today. And that's the 30,000-foot view of my professional life, if you will. We can go deeper in any area you want, but that's the mile high view, if you will.
Man, that's beautiful. Congrats on, wow, from 11, grinding, hustling.
I bought all
Wow.
my own clothes, everything since I was 11 years old. You know, my parents, the most, I don't know if your parents were anything like mine, but like the most famous words in our house were, "We can't afford it." And I remember the last pair of shoes that they bought me from Kmart.
Oh,
I couldn't,
Kmart.
I'm trying to play basketball with my friends in the gym and I can't stop, right? It was like they're hard plastic soles. And I just said this, I can't do this anymore. Like I, it's tough to fit in when you're a kid, right? Super tough to fit in. And we moved around a lot. So it made it even more difficult.
Uh,
But working at a young age, and shit, I had hustles before that. I mean, I would carry duffel bags worth of candy around school, and I would, we'd go to Sam's Club, and I just charged twice as much as we, paid for it. So I was always a hustler. But man, HVAC, plumbing, electrical, the trades just set things free for me. I mean, it's changed my life. Incredible.
so I mean, and trades is a whole nother ball of yarn or wax or beast, whatever
Yep.
you want to call it. But when it comes to sales, I do want to talk about that because so many people are scared to sell. And I always have to tell people, like, I'm a marketer, I'm not a salesperson. I can do sales, but they're married. They're not the same. What is your experience, or how can you? Here, let me rephrase this for our listeners out there that are very small. They want to grow their business, but they just don't know maybe where to start or how to begin and even overcome, like, oh my gosh, I don't want to sell. That's not who I am.
Well, selling is not something that you do to people. It's something that you do for them. And everybody loves to buy. Just look at your own credit card statements. I can prove that you love to buy. Just look at all the shit that you're buying, right? And every time somebody buys something, somebody else on the other end is selling it to them. So I would encourage you to, if you're thinking that way out there, guys, you're gonna have that's stinking thinking. All right. Zig Ziglar would have said that that's stinking thinking. He said, business is never good or bad out there, right? It's only good or bad between your ears, right? It's a thought process and you've got to get over it. Are you going to get upset at the teller at the drive-through that you're going to eat at today if you're a service person, right? If you're going to McDonald's or something, did you get upset when you went through there this morning and they charged you for your bacon, egg, and cheese McMuffin and sold it to you? No, you didn't get upset at all. People need these things that we have to offer. So you got to
Oh,
stop being afraid and consider that you're doing something for a client. Closing somebody is not something you do to somebody, it's something you do for them. And as long as your heart's in the right place, you should feel good about asking
right.
for the money, right? As long as the client is going to benefit more than the money they've got to part with, then you're doing something for that client. Make sense?
Yeah, I've always said, like, selling and serving, and we
Yeah, at
all,
the
like you
highest level.
said, we all like to buy things that are gonna make us happy, so why not be that thing that makes that person happy?
Well, that's something for sure. And consider that people will spend money 10 times faster statistically if you're talking about a problem. If they're trying to escape a problem. See, people spend money for two reasons: to escape pain or to experience
Hey,
pleasure.
pleasure.
And they'll
Yep.
spend money 10 times faster to escape pain than they will pleasure. So, what I
Mm.
encourage people to do is to sell the problem that the client is having. Sell the problem. Stop selling products. Everybody does that. Once you sell a problem, once the client comes to their own conclusion that they have a problem, they're going to want out of that problem because people spend money 10 times faster to escape pain. A perfect example, and this is not going to probably be a great example that your clients or your listeners can use. But here's an example of what we would do, let's say, in the air conditioning field when we would sell a surge protector. So I'm not going to hold the surge protector in my hand and start telling you all the wonderful benefits about the surge protector. I'm going to start selling the problem. Why would you want one, right? I'm going to say, Mr. Smith, why don't you have a surge protector? And he's probably going to go, well, I don't know. And I'm going to go, were you aware that we get over 1.2 million cloud to ground lightning strikes a year here in this area? And that when that happens, we get in-home surges? And did you know that when you get an in-home surge that your compressors and your motors can glow cherry red on the inside? Do you think that's good? What do you suppose that does to the reliability of the system? How about the lifespan? Have you ever purchased a new compressor before? So you weren't aware that a new compressor could cost you $4,000 or $5,000? Can you see now why all of our clients just get surge protection rather than replacing expensive motors and compressors, maybe even a whole system? Now, I don't know if people are paying attention, but those were all questions, right? I'm not talking at a client. I'm asking them questions. That way their brain has to engage. Have you ever been talking to
Mm,
somebody or had somebody talking to you and you knew they weren't listening? Or somebody talking to you and you weren't listening. You're just nodding your head. It wasn't something that you were super excited to talk about. Maybe you were trying to get out of somewhere and somebody just wouldn't leave you alone and kept talking to you. Have you ever experienced this before? So we ask questions in order to
absolutely.
maintain that control inside of the conversation. I can control what you're thinking if I utilize questions. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
I love the art of sales. I absolutely love it. It's the best profession in the world, in my opinion. The unlimited earning potential, and you can have anything in life that you've ever wanted if you just help enough other people to get what they want. And that's what sales is helping other people to get what they want.
Okay. Okay. So for those that say, okay, I'm going to go help people, I'm going to explain the problem. How do you then, or I should say, what it would be the next step for them?
Well, see, I'm going to give some of your listeners a cheat code, a hack. All right. You
Ooh.
said explain the problem to a client. And sure, I guess I was explaining it to your listeners when I was doing the surge protection spiel, right? But
Right, right,
I
right.
wasn't explaining anything as much as I was asking questions. All I was doing was taking information that I wanted to give you and changing the beginning. I was adding things like, did you know? And then information. Were you aware? Insert information. So you didn't know? Insert information. So you weren't aware? Insert information. Do you
Mhm.
suppose? Insert information. Would you believe? Insert information. And then at the end, a trial close. Can you see now why our clients do this rather than that? Bringing in herd and pack mentality, right? If there's safety in numbers, if other people are doing it, I'm probably not going to get hurt or embarrassed,
Pretty
right?
good. Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
true.
all you got to do is add things like, did you know, or were you aware, when you're giving your information to your clients, and you'll be able to control what they're thinking, and you'll get them to come to their own conclusion that something needs to be done. If you can get a client to come to their own conclusion that they need to do something, just try stopping them. And
Mm.
when that happens, all they're asking for is, what is the solution? Can I afford it? And when can it be done? Really, those are the only things that they're looking for. So get them to come to their own conclusion that something needs to be done. Don't say a lot about the product, right? Like, we've got a whole long presentation on how to clean up somebody's indoor air quality products. And it's like a 10-minute talk that we have with clients. And would you believe the only thing that we say about the product is that it's a breathe easy package? We don't tell them what it is. We don't tell them that there's filters and ionizers and UV lights and air scrubbers and shit like that. We just say our clients have us install a breathe easy package. And then we share with them what life's going to be like afterwards, right? So people are spending way too much selling products. You have to sell problems. When you sell a problem,
Mm.
the client comes to their own conclusion that something needs to be done. And remember, they're 10 times more likely to spend money to get that problem to go away. So talk about the problems, not even explaining them, but explaining them through the use of questions. Nathan, when I'm asking you a question, what can you not do? You cannot disengage your brain. You can't
Mm.
stop listening to me,
I love
right?
the psychology piece to it. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
But if I'm talking at you, is there a distinct likelihood that you will kind of space out?
Yeah,
Very much so, isn't it? And
yeah.
am I doing the exact same thing in this conversation? How many questions have I asked you in a row?
I lost track.
You might want to go back and count them. So I train people the exact same way that they're supposed to go in and communicate with their clients. So sell the
Mm.
problem, make the solution very, very short and small. And if they want to know more about the solution, if they want to know how many microwatts or gigawatts it is or whatever it is that you're selling, then you can go into that information later. Like when I would sell air conditioners, you would think that somebody would really, really want to know what the brand of the air conditioning system is, because it seems like that's what everybody wants to know. But would you
Mhm.
believe that 99% of the people that I sold an air conditioner to didn't even know what kind of air conditioner they were getting? They had no idea. Like I would have my hand on the door ready to leave and they go, "Oh, by the way, Gene, that 25 grand I just gave you, what brand system am I getting?" And I would literally go, "Do you want a brown one or a green one?" And if they said they wanted a green one, I would say it's going to be a Ream. It was Consumers Digest Best Buy last year. You're going to love it. Like the
Wow.
product doesn't matter. What matters is that the client believes that they have a problem, that they trust you to take care of it, and that they can afford it. It's all that really matters. Sales is not hard. People make it hard. And I think they make it hard because they don't have mentors. When was the last time, if you're in business out there, when was the
That's a
last
diamond
time
right
you
there.
went and spent 10 or 20 grand on a program that would help you to become a better salesperson? I've invested 6 figures in 1 year with a mentor. So
Wow.
you
Six
guys,
figures?
100%, yeah, over 100 grand in a year. I spent with a very, very uh, famous person. If I said his name, you would know him. But
Wow.
that helped me to compress time. All right. Instead of having to learn everything that he taught me over a 10-year period, I got to learn it in a couple of months. And so
Mm.
now I don't have to go through that learning curve. He helped me compress time, and it made me another $1 million already.
Mm.
So
And that in that short amount of time.
yeah, yeah. In 7 months, it made me 800 and some $1,000. And so I know at this stage of the game, it's well over 1 million that mentorship netted me.
And
So
would you
guys,
say would that ma
what's
oh, go ahead.
what were you going to say?
No, I was gonna say, is that mentorship is that about giving you more confidence, giving you more skills, more resources, or
Gosh.
both?
Yeah, well, when you increase your competence, you automatically increase your confidence. So
Yeah.
I highly
Yeah.
recommend that you get one or two really, really good mentors and then go deep with those people. Like I have two right now. That guy's not my mentor anymore. I've got another guy who's a mentor of mine that's worth about $250 million. And he's insane. He'll be a billionaire in the next 31 or 32 months. People would
Wow.
probably know him if I said his name as well. And then I've got another coach who I meet with every single Monday at 5 p.m. And she helps me to unpack breakdowns, things that are challenges in my life. But we also go over successes and wins, right? You got to have somebody that will pull you up. Life's tough. It's going to come at you. Anybody out there going through shit right now? Me too,
Man.
right? So Les Brown said, "No man is an island." He said, "We ask for
Mm.
help, not because we're weak, but because we want to remain strong. So ask for help and don't stop until you get it." And guys, I'm telling you, the most successful people that I've ever met in my life are willing to help people, but nobody wants to ask them because they're too afraid. Go find
Mm.
yourself somebody who's a multimillionaire and ask them, how did you do it? And then just do exactly what they did. Don't reinvent the wheel, right? Nathan, if you and I were in a room and Elon Musk walked into that room and he said, Nathan, you, me, and Gene, we're going to build Tesla 2.0, and here's exactly how we're going to do it. And he wrote it all out for us. Nathan, would you and I go, Elon, maybe we should do it this way and change it?
I
That'd be
know.
nuts.
No.
Right? Just do what they've done. The path is already there, and pay them for their expertise. It will compress time and you will make a ton of money from it. But obviously you want to make sure that you're working with a good coach. Do your research and everything. That should go without saying. Because I've spent money with people that I ain't get nothing from. But I still always got something. Like I'm always able to find one little nugget. Doesn't matter how much I
Mm.
pay for something. I'm always able to find one little nugget that makes it worth it. For instance, when I sold my first company, I got locked into a contract. It auto renewed, and my bookkeeper, my COO at the time, she missed it. Right, so I got locked into a
Mm.
5-year contract with a uniform company. And there was something, it cost me like, I think 30 grand or something like that to get out of this contract. But there was something in it called a liquidated damages provision. And that was what got me stuck having to pay 30 grand. And I went, well, this is a pretty cool provision. This sucks that I just lost 30 grand, but I'm going to insert this into my contracts. And if anybody tries to cancel on me in a specified period of time, I'll have a liquidated damages provision, and they'll be able to get out of the contract and pay me thousands of dollars, but it'll be half of whatever, they would have otherwise paid me. And that loss, that fourth 300 or $30,000 loss, has already turned into about $350,000 in gains.
Mm.
Right. So
Wow. I got to look
even,
that up.
even, even when you lose, make sure that you look at the silver lining, right?
Mm.
Everything that happens to me, I always have a silver lining. And for those of you that are going through shit right now that we talked about, I'm going through some massive stuff in my life. But here's how I want you to frame it. I don't want you to say, especially if you're a believer, um, don't say, God, why is this happening to me? Don't say that. Say, God,
Great.
what do you want from this? God, I got chills right
Jesus.
now, right?
Jesus.
Um, ask him, what do you want from this? Because everything that he's doing with you in your life is a part of your testimony, and your testimony is what gives you access to other people's hearts. So if
Mm.
I hadn't gone through a 17-year marriage where my wife had been cheating on me for the last 4 years of my marriage and found all that out, had I not gone through that, I wouldn't be able to speak into men's lives who are going through challenges in their own relationships. I wouldn't have access. I couldn't relate, right? So God uses these things, these challenges, these breakdowns in our lives to mold us, to create us to be the person that he wants to work through to help those other people. Make sense?
Mm.
I don't
Man.
even know
Well,
how I got on that tangent, dog, but
hey, you just minister to me and so many other people, because yes, we're at a time where a lot of people are going like knee deep, waist deep, neck deep in whatever, and they're asking, why did this
yeah,
happen to me?
yeah.
So
Not why,
like,
what? What is it that you want from this, God? What are you trying to build? What are you trying to create? What are he's trying to create the 2.0 and 3.0 version of you, right? And as long as we frame it in our mind that, listen, I'm going through this, I'm gonna walk through this fire because I know that on the other side, I'm going to become the person that I need to become. I'm going to become the person that God needs in order to use me for his purpose and to help other people. So, and like
that's
those kinds
beautiful.
of mindsets are so important for sales, because God, do you get a lot of no's in the beginning or what? Right?
Yeah. I mean, you also, you can say sales. I'm going to say life. I think sometimes people forget, like, yes, even though I may be a business owner, I still have a life to manage and to balance. And you just don't get to turn off this brain of a business owner as a salesperson to say, oh, you know what? I don't have to think like this anymore. I'm going to go to sleep thinking I can just have this regular life and nothing ever happens to me. That's
Can I give your listeners another kind of cheat code? And I'll do my best to articulate this um, in a way that it's as easy to understand as possible. But it took me about 400 hours of training to really get this, to be able to put it in, maybe a 3 to 5 minute conversation. But listeners out there, if you have the ability to grab a piece of paper right now and a pencil, go ahead and grab a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil. All right. Turn
mm,
that paper sideways, kind of like landscape form. And if you can't do this, I want you to imagine it. All right. On the left hand side of the paper, you're going to draw a circle. On the right hand side of the paper, you're going to draw a circle, and the circles are not going to touch. Okay.
okay.
In the circle on the left hand side, I want you to write what happened. And then in the circle on the right, I want you to write my story.
What happened? My
All right.
story.
So we
Got
got
it.
what
Okay.
happened and my story. Now, before I come back to this piece of paper, I need you to hear me. You are a meaning making machine. You are a meaning making machine. Okay. Everything that happens to you in life, you have to make it mean something. It's part of the human condition. Okay. So go
Mm,
back to my wife cheating on me after 17 years, right? I could have made that mean a lot of things. I could have made it mean you can't trust women. I could have made it
mm,
mean that all women are cheaters. I could have made it mean 100 different things, right? When something happens to you, you tell yourself a story about what it means, and it
mm,
happens automatically. So you're not responsible for it. Do you control the thoughts that come into your head? Of course not. You do
mm,
control the thoughts that you focus on, though, right? You do control what you focus on. So when something happens in your life, when you have a breakdown, put
mm,
it in that circle on the left hand side that said, what happened? And then ask yourself, what story did I tell myself about what happened?
mm.
And then you have to check it for validity.
Deep. That's deep.
All right. So what happened? What did I make it mean? What's the story I told myself about it? And then is that thing true? Um, Anybody ever called you stupid before? And then you played that I'm stupid, I'm stupid, I'm stupid, I'm stupid over and over and over and over again in your head? You made it mean that, right? You
Mm,
have a choice at what you make things mean. So going back to my example before, when I found out that I was getting cheated on by my wife of 17 years, I could have very well made that mean a whole lot of negative stuff. What I have chosen to make it mean is that God wanted me to go through that so that I would be able to speak into other men's lives, to be able to get access to help them go through
mm.
that, right?
Praise
Because
God.
that's something
Mm.
that can wipe you out. Yes or
Out.
no?
Yes.
I mean,
Definitely.
I was thinking about killing myself at that time,
Mm,
right? And I know that
mm,
other men go through this. And so God gave that to me so that I could be prepared to help people in the future that he was going to put in my path. So what happened? The cheating. My story, it's for me. This is for me to have an impact on other people. If you can start to frame your life that way, if you can start to think about what you made stuff mean, then you can grab some power. And I'd love to share where I learned that. And that was at Landmark Worldwide. So if anybody wants a phenomenal weekend course on how to help control this more and how to not have your, like, all this baggage, if you will, right? If I can get rid of all this baggage and this shit that I'm carrying when I go and meet this next person, like I'm free to have a relationship, right? But all you guys are carrying
That's
around
the
all
diamond.
this emotional baggage and
That's
shit,
the
and it bumps
diamond.
into other people when you meet them. You got to be able to get rid of it, right? And that's why I have that call every Monday with my coach. She's my head coach. We speak a different
Mm.
language together, and that's the language of Landmark. So landmarkworldwide.com is where I would go, and then sign up for something called the Forum. Made a massive impact in my life, and I would not be alive today without that organization. I know it for sure. So if you're going through something out there, I think it's like a $7, $8, $900 course. Go take the Forum. It will help you immensely.
Mm.
Hope this is helping
Gene,
somebody out there.
yes, this is, I mean, I typically we only go 15, 20 minutes, but this is, I believe at times we put the business, we put the company, we put our W-2 or the client in front of us instead of saying, I got to make this about me. You just made this what we started talking off as sales. You turn it into, hey, look. And I loved how vulnerable you were, which is why I always rock my gear. Be you is so important because people can connect and relate because we've all been cheated on, but not all of us. Shoot, I know when I've been cheated on, I didn't walk away thinking that what happened and the story to what the meaning. So that's beautiful, man. For those that want to find out like how or more, how can they reach you, man?
You can find me anywhere on any social platform at Gene Slade, GeneSlade. You can also find me at geneslade.com or leadninjasystem.com. So you just Google my name, there'll be plenty of stuff for you to read.
Yeah, I uh preemptively said this is I'm glad we didn't come up with the title beforehand because I did not want to lose this blessing. Thank you for blessing me, man. Uh, I got to have you on the show again.
I would be honored to come back on again. Thank you for exposing your listeners to our message. It means a lot. I really, really appreciate it, Nathan.
Absolutely. I'm going to make sure to put your information too in the show notes. And if y'all watching this on YouTube, I mean, he gave the double flex and good God that, we talk about from physical strength, mental strength, spiritual strength. So please don't, man, thank you, man. I appreciate it. And we look forward for you listeners to, if that touched you, man, say something. Let Gene just put himself out there. Comment below, please like, please share. Hopefully you have watched to this very end and share this with someone that potentially may need it. If you got the means to do so, go to Landmark, the forum. I'll put the links in there below. And again, Gene, thank you.
My pleasure, man. Thank you for having us on. Have a great day.
Absolutely. Until next time, y'all, I wish you nothing but the best. So dream big and Godspeed. I'm out.